everybody, my name is Chagnon and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing something slightly different. I've decided to start a series of videos on my channels all appertaining to makeup for beginners. I watch a lot of makeup tutorials and makeup tutorials that are claimed to be for beginners, and I find them very difficult to follow. I find there's just too much in the video and too many things that I would not deem for beginners. And I'm by far not a makeup guru and I don't know much about makeup, but I do know that if the video is just too difficult for me to follow, that I won't probably do what they're doing in their videos. So I've decided to make my own set of makeup beginner videos, which I have deemed very basic, because I am a very basic person when it comes to makeup. If it is too complicated, it is not going to happen. So my makeup beginner videos are going to be very basic and very easy to follow, hopefully. And I've also decided to set them up in a sort of recipe fashion. So at the start of each video, I'm going to go through the list of products that I'm going to be using. By all means, the products that I show you aren't the ones you need to have to do the video with, but they are the sorts of products that I will be using in the video. So as long as you have those sorts of products in your collection, or you're able to easily get a hold of those, then you just can complete the video easily. I hope that makes sense. I hope this makes sense and that everyone will enjoy it, and it will be a good way for some people to get into makeup who find it very scary when looking at the makeup aisle with all the choices. So hopefully these videos will give you a way of understanding how to use the products that you have at your disposal, or just teach you what to do with products and then be able to go into the store and pick up the products that you know how to use right away. For this tutorial, there are 6 products and 4 tools, so I'm just going to go and name them out right now and show them to you. As long as you have products that are similar to the ones that I am showing you, you'll be able to complete the tutorial no problem. And of course, if you don't want to use a product that I am using, then you could just skip this step completely and then move on to the next one. I'm going to put everything in steps within the video, so it'll hopefully be very easy for you to follow. So let's get into it. First off, the ingredients for this tutorial. For this tutorial, you will need a concealer. That it could be any concealer you like. I do recommend, if you're starting out, to get a concealer with a doe foot applicator. That way you're not going to be using your fingers. It's just easier to apply with and be more precise. I'll be using a makeup sponge in this tutorial. By all means, you do not need to have a makeup sponge. You can use your fingers to blend in your concealer, but for this one, I am using the makeup sponge because I like the makeup sponge. The next product you'll need is a facial powder. I've got one here that is in my skin tone, and for applying it with, I'm going to be using a kabuki brush. You don't need a kabuki brush, but any sort of brush that is fluffy will do. Or if you don't want to have a brush at all, that's just too much work for you, a lot of compacts do come with a sponge applicator, so you could just use that when applying. Next item you'll want for this tutorial is a blush. Any blush will do as long as it complements your skin. So I have picked a bright pink color because I like pinks. For applying your blush, you'll want to have a fluffy brush to do that with. In this tutorial, we will be using eyeshadow, so I have set aside a taupe colored eyeshadow, and I'm going to be pretty much using this to help cover up any of the blue veins that are on my eyelid that I happen to have. So if you don't want to have eyeshadow, then take this step completely out when we get to it in the tutorial. But for those of you who want to have an eyeshadow, I recommend a taupe color. And of course, you could either use your fingertips to apply that shadow, or you could use a shadow brush if you have. I'll also be using a mascara in this tutorial. You could use your favorite one. I'll be using this one. And the last product that will be used within this tutorial is a tinted lip balm. Anyone again will do. I'm just happen to be using this one. First up, I'll be using some concealer. This is a Rimmel London one, but I really like it because it has this doe foot applicator, which just allows you to be very precise when applying the product. So I'm going to be doing this, and what you want to do is you want to take the doe foot applicator, if you have one, and you want to draw a triangle under your eye. I like to do 2 swipes, one going directly underneath the under eye and another one going down at an angle. And then I'm just gonna connect that by filling in the 2 lines like so. I'm gonna do that to the other eye as well. So that is the concealer done for the under eye part, and then I'm just going to plop a little bit of concealer on any other blemishes I have on my face. So right here. Concealer definitely doesn't provide the fullest of coverage, but it's definitely a good place to start when you are getting into makeup, which is why I'm using concealer in this tutorial. So now that I have applied everything where I want it to apply, I'm going to use a facial sponge to blend all that in. I just prefer a facial sponge, but you could use your fingers if you don't have one or if you don't want to buy a facial sponge at all. When using a facial sponge, you always want to use it wet. It just helps to blend the product to a very good finish. Once your concealer is all blended in, you will definitely want to set it with a powder. So I'm going to be going in now with a facial powder. This one has a tint to it. It's my skin tone. And this will just help to, again, give slightly more coverage that the concealer does not provide and to set the concealer into place. So I'm just going to use a small kabuki brush. You can use any sort of fluffy brush, or a lot of concealers, compact concealers like this one, actually come with a pad that you can use, so you don't have to buy a brush. You can just use what's provided with the compact. So I'm just loading up the kabuki brush with a lot of powder. And what you're wanting to do when applying powders with a brush like so is you want to go in circular motions downward. So I'm going to just start at my cheek, which is probably what you're not wanting to do, but I just do it anyway. So I'm going to do that. And you want to rub it in circular motions and get around the nose and everywhere. Next, we'll be picking up our blush. So you'll want to choose a color that complements your skin. I find pink color blushes complement my skin tone. They might not complement yours. You just need to experiment and find out what you like. And for this, you'll want to apply it with, again, another fluffy brush, but not the same brush that you just used for your face powder. Now, depending on how pigmented your blush is, you might not need a lot of it, so I'm just going to take a couple of swipes of this Tarte one because I don't need a lot of it. And I've probably already picked up way too much on this brush, but we're going to work with it. So if you've picked up too much, you'll just want to tap it out a little bit or rub it on the back of your hand to get rid of some of that product. So now my brush is good. For applying blush, you'll want to concentrate it on the apples of your cheeks right here. And then I like to swipe it up my cheekbones afterward, whatever is left on the brush. To do this, a lot of people say smiling is a good thing. So I'm just going to smile creepily at you. And then I'm just going to apply it. I like to dab slightly in the area of my cheek. And when I like the concentration on the apples of my cheeks, I'll start swiping it upward. So and that's blush done, very easy. Next, we'll be using the shadow we've put aside. So this is just a easy taupe color. You're gonna wanna load it up onto your brush if you have one. If not, you could just use your fingers, easy peasy. I'll do one with the brush and one with fingers. So you'll just wanna swipe that across the eye. We've chosen a taupe color because it'll be less noticeable, so if you do screw up with applying, it won't be a giant ordeal to deal with. And we're also using eyeshadow because some people have blue veins in their eyelids like myself, so I just like to apply a taupe color of eyeshadow to conceal those. Now I'm going to use my finger, so just get a good amount of that on your finger, which you can't even see because it's like the same color as my skin. And then you'll just want to dab that on. Now it's time to use the mascara you've put aside for this. I've just got the CoverGirl Plumpify Blast Pro. It's my favorite at the moment. And it's easy to apply because it has this super big applicator. So I'm just gonna apply that easily. Learning to apply mascara without getting those black dots over top on your brow bone is definitely a challenge, and the best way to do it is just plain old practice, practice, practice. I've only been using mascara myself for maybe a year now because I just did not like mascara because of the black dots on the brow bone, and I still get black dots on the brow bone. That's right now what I'm wiping off. So don't fret, it just takes a lot of practice. And the last item we'll be using for this tutorial is a simple lip balm. This is a tinted lip balm, so it just gives you a small wash of color. Lip balms, in my opinion, are just easier to use. You don't have to do a lot of prep to your lips before applying them. There's no lip liner necessary. There's no primer necessary for lips. It's just the lip balm, and they are moisturizing at the same time, so it's always a good double deal. I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial for makeup beginners. I've enjoyed filming it, and I'm going to continue doing this series of videos for beginners in makeup. And I'll add in a couple of new things here and there, and we'll just work our way up so that you can do everything that you see those makeup gurus on YouTube doing. If you've liked this video, do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. That way I'll know you want to see more in the future. And leave a comment with what you want to see in the next Makeup for Beginners video. Until next time, guys, bye!